All right. There it is.
We got sound now? Do we have sound?
Like, we need Teresa.
Yeah, we need.
Like, how we
Let's see. We're going to check the chat, see if everybody can hear us.
Hope Teresa knock on the door. Let us know. Let's see if. Sound. All right. We back.
Confirmation.
Cool, man.
All right. Little hiccup to begin with.
Yo, it's like everything started going wrong.
Yeah.
Like right before we had to come on.
Yeah. Usually before we do any recordings, we restart the computer about 30 minutes beforehand. We did that this time, and the computer just I guess it was going through some kind of update, even though I told it not to. I set it for later on tonight.
I don't know what it was doing,
but I guess it had a mind of its own and it did it anyways. But anyway, all right. What we were saying when you couldn't hear us was, welcome to the show, LTB. Oh my gosh, LTMB show. Okay, let the madness begin. My name is Will Gaylord.
Mike White.
All right. Last year we were pretty active with doing videos and analysis. We would talk about social issues, current events, politics. We talked a lot about the election 2016, and the last video we made
was Colin Kaepernic,
and that was
December 19th.
So
yeah,
like mid December is when we did our last video, and then we dropped off of a cliff. Nobody heard from
Well, I mean, we were like still posting stuff every now and then.
Every now and again.
But we didn't have the same presence that we used to. You know what I'm saying?
We had a daily presence back in 2016. Then this year is just kind of.
But it's interesting that mentioning the last video we did and covering the subject matter of Colin Kaepernick and his struggles that he's gone through with the NFL, and now it's escalated. Now I guess I guess you could say it's escalated not in regard to the outrage and the support, but as far as it escalating for him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's kind of transitioned into support of him not having a job. I see these things on Facebook where there's these memes and people are celebrating that Colin Kaepernick does not have a job in the NFL.
You mean probably some of these same people hate it when boycotts happen? Some of these same people that hate it when people lose their job because they're actually doing something offensive, like going off on racist tirades or sexist tirades. Those people get fired and somehow freedom of speech is gone. But Colin Kaepernick, he doesn't have a job for standing up for people, and somehow he deserves to lose his job. Well, I don't understand that.
It's a state of unawareness, really, because we went through what the song actually meant, the Star Spangled Banner. We went through what that song actually meant, the lost lyrics, if I would, right? The lost lyrics, and how it did not stand for justice for all. It didn't stand for all of us. It stood for white people. You celebrating the death of slaves.
See, right now you talking like you expecting too much.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now you talking like you can have some sort of like a detailed class on the song with all of America, and they're gonna listen. It's not gonna happen. Yeah. You expecting too much, Bree. You expecting too much.
Yeah. But anyway, so so like I said, we've been gone for a while. Now, I'll give you my story on why I was absent for this long, okay? I don't like to talk about this. It's, I'll tell you. So, I actually was abducted, okay?
No. You were actually abducted and got taken to Mars.
That's what I'm saying. Man, stop telling my story, man.
Oh, my bad.
Anyway, so, I was abducted. I was shipped to Mars, I was shipped to Mars in a sort of a child sex slave ring, like to a colony, right?
And who had to come get you, though? Who had to come get you?
Well, I escaped. That's my story. See, I escaped. See, I don't even know why they picked me up anyway, because I'm not a child. That didn't make sense to me. But anyway, I escaped, right? And I came back. I'm here now, and a lot of people may not understand what the hell I'm talking about. We're gonna get into that though. We're gonna get into that a little bit later. That this is a little reference to somebody.
I think probably some of the people watching already know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But anyway, real story. I hit a brick wall. Mentally hit a brick wall after December. It pretty much after the last time we recorded. I believe a week had went by, and I don't know why that week went by where we didn't record. But I remember it was after that time where I was like, man, I'm tired mentally. I'm just mentally tired, because for people that don't do the broadcasting, YouTube or Facebook, this is a drain. I mean, a lot of stuff goes into this. A lot of background, a lot of editing, a lot of research, a lot of promoting, commenting. There's a lot of stuff that gets involved, and I would be up from early morning to late night, and I did this every day pretty much all last year. So yeah, I hit a brick wall. And another thing was, after the election, I was really asking myself, where do we go from here? Because I saw the things that were going on with, we've seen Trump, with his administration, just all the chaos that's going
and you see
involved.
And you see the kind of the lack of direction from the Democratic Party as well.
Right. We know what the Democratic Party is.
And you know what? Honestly, there's a bit of lack of direction with the progressive community too.
And that's a lot of what was going through my head too, because pretty much ever since Bernie Sanders had endorsed Hillary Clinton, people that supported Bernie Sanders, they just splintered off into different directions. And it's been causing a lot of chaos, more so now than probably ever.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily... I don't think the splitting off is the problem. I think that the mindset that people took with them is the problem. And I guess with kind of Bernie kind of leading and being the umbrella over people, that kind of kept people's heads screwed on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, it's easier to attach one's, I guess, ideology to a candidate rather than a cause, I guess. And now, it's harder to unify people.
And then when you break off into your own little mini causes, it's a little bit difficult to hold that in. Right.
And whenever there's a lot of things people are focused on. There's a lot of other candidates people are focused on. We have. So after the election, we got Justice Democrats.
Brand new Congress.
We got Draft Bernie. We still got the Green Party. So, yeah, the DNC lawsuits going on. Seth Rich is still being talked about in the news, right? So there's a lot of things that are going on, and around these issues, progressives are fighting. There's a lot of infighting going on. And I've seen that from afar. I haven't been touching it really, but I've seen it going on. And my personal take is, one of the negatives from Bernie Sanders' campaign was that he emboldened people to stand up and be leaders. Now, on the surface, right on the face of that, it sounds like a good idea. Stand up, let your voice be heard. And I don't really have a problem with that per se, but some of these people have no business leading, and that's just straight.
I think what compounded it too is the fact that he endorsed Hillary Clinton too. I think that kind of I don't know, maybe that accelerated it a little bit. Maybe their mindset going into finding their own little niche, maybe that affected a little bit. But what do you mean by when you say they don't have no business being a leader?
Well, like I said, a lot of people splintered off into different groups and a lot of different people too. See, I think most people in the world, they do have to be led. And we're all really kind of searching for that leader that has the same kind of mind frame that we have, the same kind of ideology that we have, so we can. It's easier to latch on to a candidate than a cause, like I said.
Well, I think another factor, probably the major factor, is,
or not just a candidate, just a person.
Yeah, but see, you, like all these. I mean, alternative media has always been around, but it just seems as if like last year, more people just got tired of it, right? So what that ended up doing is kind of sending people into alternative media sources.
Oh yeah.
But like, I think it's important that we be honest about any media source, whether it's alternative or not. And people act as if like alternative media doesn't have its faults. And to be honest, it can be 10 to 20 to 30 to 50 times worse than mainstream media. And so what you have a lot of people who are offering some sort of social commentary that kind of are taking advantage of the situation, because people are desperate. People are desperate.
That's the problem.
People, there's desperation, and people are trying to find their spot as far as making a name for themselves. And in all honesty, I think most of it is dishonest, because they see people as like, oh, like what can we do to get these cast-offs or these people who I guess don't want to get their information from mainstream media. And so if you kind of venture into the deep dark depths of alternative media, you know what I'm saying, if you go into the deep end of the pool, it's bad, and there's a lot worse sources than mainstream media. And until people can be honest about that and, you know, acknowledge that people are taking the same behaviors that they had with mainstream into alternative media, whether they're offering commentary or whether they're like you know, a listener, then we're just going to keep repeating the same cycles, because all I'm seeing is people just transferring the behaviors that they like attained from watching this media over here, whether it be mainstream, and just taking it into a different space. I see the same bullshit human traits, and that it's kind of exhausting.
I see, and let me be clear too, because just speaking for myself, I don't really consider myself a leader. I know I've heard some people say that about me. I don't really claim myself as a leader in this movement now.
You know what's funny? We didn't really call ourselves progressives, really. We didn't really at first. It was just, it was there.
Well, I've been claiming that for a little while.
Well, I'm talking about when I first kind of like gravitated towards a particular this particular view of politics. I really didn't call myself that. I just kind of was that.
Well, see, actually, I did, but I will say to agree with what you're saying, I didn't really understand all that it entailed.
Oh, okay, all right.
Until like the last year and a half, something like that. But again, like I said, I don't really consider myself a leader, and that's what I was kind of thinking about throughout all these months that were going by, and we weren't doing anything. I was thinking about, okay, where do we actually have to go? Where do we need to go? How do we need to go about doing it to actually attain some kind of progress? And I think that's what's emblematic of a leader. A leader, one, has to be knowledgeable. They have to have a clear plan for success. They have to be able to know how to galvanize people and different types of people to attain that success. I mean, it takes a lot of different things. Everybody just can't stand up and say, look, I got a good idea. This is what we all should do. Everybody jump on my back.
And along with those ideas, you have to be kind of willing to take criticism. You have to be willing to, I guess, get some pushback, and all kind of pushback. Like when people ask for clarification on like the details to your plan, the details to your idea. When people they're asking for direction, you have to kind of be willing to kind of expound on that, and you can't just throw stuff out. You can't just throw stuff out without any explanation.
Like you said, being a leader, you're able to take that criticism, because everybody has some kind of blind spot. Everybody has blind spots. They may not be able to see a certain issue from a different perspective. And so when you hear that feedback from somebody, you should be able to take that in and say, well, let me think about that. Maybe I do need to adjust my position. That is
and see, I think a consequence of people kind of making the decision to, I guess, move away from mainstream media or whatever, I think the consequence is maybe sometimes people feel a little bit special.
Right.
And so they fall into this trap where they forget that they're still subject and still vulnerable to the same human traits that everybody else is. And so they can fall in the same traps even within, you know, the communities that they do exist in. And since we're talking about the progressive community, it's happening now, and it's happening like to an extreme level, to where people are kind of in this bubble, and kind of we think that like we're special, you know what I'm saying? And so what you have is like people behaving the same way that they did.
Well, see, it's not enough for us. Like, I mean, we could think that we have the right kind of ideas, the right kind of ideology, the right way to go about things. It's not enough to do that. You have to appeal to people, and the people, I mean, like us, there's other people on the other side that think the same way about themselves. No, it should be this way. No, I've got the right idea. So it's like, you know, it's constantly
because they're exhibiting the same behaviors that they talk down about the mainstream media and the people who are in that kind of, I guess, false dichotomy, or that two-party Republican Democratic binary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, they kind of get away from that and then start their own false dichotomy binary within their own little circle. You know what I'm saying? And so you get caught up on these little wedge issues. So
we've been talking about some ideas about like where to go and stuff like that, and I don't know if they're all put together yet. And you know, through the course of this, that's what we're going to be doing, talking it out. But that's going to be later. We have some things to get to first. So talking about all the infighting, okay, there's particular conflicts that we have to talk about because, well, I guess we just have to talk about it.
We have to talk about it because
they're still going on.
They're still going on. And it's pretty much a product of people behaving the same way they were behaving before they became progressives. They're just behaving the same way. They're just doing it. Right. And this shit is annoying, and it's not getting us anywhere. So
not everybody's gonna know about these conflicts, so we're gonna, you know, do some background information. So we have to talk about Caitlin Johnstone. Okay, so she is a writer, a journalist from Australia. She writes progressive, like she has a progressive lean. I mean, she is progressive, right? Now, just weeks ago, I believe it was in early July, she had a column. She writes for Medium.com. If you haven't read any of her columns, you can read a lot of them on Medium.com.
It was like she has some stuff in, I think it's like anti-media something.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen her stuff on Medium.com.
Yeah.
But there was a article she wrote. Yeah, it was July 8th, and it was called "Lefties Need to Stop Being Shy About Working with the Anti-Establishment Right." So, in this article, she was talking about a lot of different things, but she talked about kind of aligning herself with. She name dropped. She said this one guy named Mike Cernovich. Now, maybe not everybody knows who Mike Cernovich is. To be, I guess, blunt, he's an asshole. You know, to be blunt, he's a straight up asshole.
But he's an asshole without a purpose. What I mean, you know what I'm saying?
He's a troll.
He's a troll. It's not like an asshole with a purpose. If you're an asshole with a purpose, I can deal with you. But
yeah, he's a troll. I mean, that's the best word for him, because he goes about trying to insult people, and whether
insult groups of people as well.
Whether it's his true feelings or not, you would have to assume they are. I mean, that's all he does. That's all he does. Is he just a troll just for troll's sake, or this is just true feelings? It really doesn't matter. Some people thought it was, well, they questioned her making that.
Well, I think. Well, I get when she posed the idea, that was kind of that was her initial example of somebody. Right. I mean, I understand why she did that, because he is kind of a troll and he is an extreme. So I mean, I understand why she did that, just to go as far as she thought she could in that moment.
Right. So this is Mike Cernovich right here. Okay. And
Yo,
yeah.
It's on now.
All right.
So we gotta check.
Difficulties.
Every time we do something, like
Yeah.
put pictures up, the sound goes away for some reason.
So
every time we mess with the switchboard, like the sound goes for some reason. That junk never happened before.
Yeah. Of course it happens right now.
I know.
But anyway, you saw the pictures, the tweets of Cernovich. You could read them. But one thing I was saying was that last tweet where he was talking about partnering with Black Lives Matters, partnering with ISIS, that he couldn't do that for Philando Castile.
See,
and I thought that was interesting because, like, you
go ahead. Yeah, I know where you're going.
Here we are talking about partnering with people that we may not agree with, but to get ahead, to get some progress. Hey, we're gonna partner with these kind of.
And it doesn't it sound like
he can't do that.
In the language she was using, it was almost like they need to come over here, as if people on the left haven't been trying to get people on the right for decades.
Yeah.
Into progressive politics,
right? But
they wanted to stay on their side. So the language makes it sound like the left has been resisting coming together. When I don't think that doesn't frame it properly. I just don't like the way she framed it. She makes it sound like there's been some sort of resistance on our side. Like no.
Well, so because of this connection that she made to Mike Cernovich, saying that maybe she could partner with somebody like him, that wasn't a step too far for her. Okay, I don't agree. I don't agree at all. I do think it was an irresponsible choice to make, but that's her prerogative. I mean, it's not like I say, man, I can't stand her now. No, that's not it at all. Because basically on
that, because I will say, I mean, she can write.
Yeah, she
write. I like the topics she covers.
Mm-hmm.
She covers the mainstream media. She covers war.
Yeah,
she covers everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I like what she covers. I mean, the subject matter I can't really falter on. There's a lot of stuff that I like about what she does. So I'm not gonna erase all of that. Right. But there's still some stuff that it's not a good look.
See, so the problem where I started having a problem was Anoa. She's from Progressive Army, and as soon as I guess she caught wind of this connection she drew to Mike Cernovich, she questioned Caitlin Johnstone about it.
And it was publicly. It wasn't
on Twitter.
It was on Twitter. You can go look at it yourself.
Yeah, it was like a whole long Twitter kind of battle beef that they had. Well, it turned into a battle beef or something like that.
Didn't have to be.
No, and that was my problem. See, Anoa asked some critical questions about how is this good? Like how would this actually work? And she didn't say anything really aggressive. She didn't insult her. She didn't like I said, she didn't go at her tough or anything like that. Like I said, she just wanted some clarification of how we could actually make that connection with a guy like that and attain progress.
Especially because the people on the other side are people who he was talking about.
Yeah.
So how can you get them to align with another side when there's some obvious blind spots? There's an obvious rift that has to be repaired. Like, how are you going to do that? You can't just say come together. You kind of have to build that bridge first, and that's what Anoa was trying to get Caitlyn to do. That's it. Yo, build the bridge. It's your idea. Yo, build the bridge for us, because I can't see it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so,
you have the floor.
Yeah. So this is some of the conversation that they were having on Twitter, and I don't know if you can read that. Maybe a little bit too small, but like I said, Noah's asking critical questions about how this would work. But Caitlyn Johnstone, for some reason, she took offense to another
big character flaw within Caitlyn right there. Like, she can't be questioned. I mean, it actually happened before the conversation got there, because Anoa, pretty much after Caitlyn didn't give her clarification, Anoa was like, okay, like trying to dig deeper.
Right.
And Caitlyn's response was, oh, so you're just okay with the mainstream media? And I was like, wait, how does her disagreeing with your idea all of a sudden get equated to her kind of siding with the mainstream media? I was like, how do you make that jump? And I was like, there you go. That's that false dichotomy. Well, that's that false. There's a couple of things going on there.
But she automatically claimed victim status.
And that's
just real. That's just real. I'm not trying to go against her or anything like that. I'm just calling it what it is. But for some reason, she became a victim in this circumstance when there was no reason to do that. But she wasn't being attacked.
Yeah, she became a victim because in that moment she recognized that her idea needed some refinement and did not want to take responsibility for that. You know what I'm saying? And like, just somebody merely asking, you know, for clarification. And like I said, when somebody's good at something, like Caitlyn, like she's good at writing, she's good at like being very like straightforward. Like, she makes her points like very aggressively. She's very colorful. So she's like great at putting things out there really quick. And in a lot of cases, she does offer explanations. But of course, these are things that she's probably taking a lot of time to think about. Right. But as soon as she expresses an idea that may need some refinement and somebody asks for clarification and more detail, it's like, oh, snap. It's like you're kind of trapped. Right. You kind of feel that vulnerability. And instead of actually taking responsibility and trying to construct that bridge so Anoa could better understand this idea, she kind of like flipped it inside out and made it like Anoa was attacking her.
Right. And so, you know, the word violence, you know, anybody that read that Twitter battle or whatever like that could see that nothing was said that amounted to violence. Now, what I found interesting was that afterwards, because of this blow up, it pretty much, you know, split people off into two sides. A lot of people hated on Anoa. A lot of people hated on Progressive Army, saying that, you know, you should unfollow them. They're full of shit. You don't want to listen to them anymore. And a lot of people just automatically gave Caitlyn Johnstone the support and just said, well, no, you know, she's cool. She's all right. No, she's right. She didn't say partner with the alt-right. And in the article, she didn't exactly say alt-right. She said alt-light, which I had never heard of. I had never heard of alt-light, but
I think that's a purposeful trying to make something really red pink. That's a purposeful way of making something.
What I saw
really
on the
red
internet
pink.
is the alt-light is people that were within the alt-right but didn't like the white nationalist aspect of alt-right.
Really? Well, I don't know. I don't think you have the screenshot of Cernovich's tweet, but it was basically said, I went from libertarian to alt-right when I recognized that multiculturalism was just code word for white genocide. Yeah. So within his tweet, he associated his I guess his route to the alt-right with a well-known white supremacist narrative. So Cernovich himself associated white supremacy with the alt-right. I didn't do it. He did that in his tweet.
Well, see, but we already know. We already know what the alt-right
and again, maybe she didn't know that, but it doesn't matter what she did or did not. Well, it does matter what she did or did not know, but it doesn't matter what she didn't know. You know, she has to kind of own up to it and realize she made a mistake. She didn't realize what she was saying. It doesn't matter if that wasn't her intent. But she must not. I don't know. I just can't believe she just doesn't know.
Well, because of this a lot of people. Well, I don't know how many actually. It looked like it became the consensus, but you know, of the other side, the people that didn't support Caitlyn. But it became like, the Caitlyn is a white nationalist now, and she's racist and this and that. And look, trolls are gonna be trolls. I wouldn't call her a white nationalist. No. That's kind of I mean that's
I think
way too far.
I think you could say like maybe she may be a white nationalist apologist.
I don't know. I just thought that, I mean, like I don't even have to say that. I criticize the connection to Cernovich, but she has the right to say that. So you know. There's no beef there, whatever, you can say that. But the way she reacted to what Anoa said, that's what I had a problem with. And
actually the way that the people who supported her reacted towards the Progressive Army, and it was automatic. And again, that's another one of those behaviors.
And it was like an automatic rebuke.
That connects again to those behaviors that they kind of I guess eviscerate people on who pay attention to mainstream media. The I'm gonna take this side, you take that side kind of behavior, and that's what they did. And some of these people we actually like. Yeah. Some of the people we listen to. Oh, yeah. But they gave her like unconditional support and allegiance. It was like, to me, it was like very, very immature, because it's like, you don't like somebody I like, so I don't like you. I'm like, that's some high school shit.
Well, it was kind of ironic too, because if you know Caitlin Johnstone's write-ins, and even if you've seen her videos too, she's made some videos. I saw her on I forgot what channel. But after this stir-up, she wrote an article, and what was that article called here? Yeah, right here. I did not call for an alliance with white nationalists, you fucking idiots. Okay.
Again, I personally, I'm fine with that on the surface. I am fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm cool.
Yeah.
That's you know what I'm saying, that's very in your face. That's her style, and I'm cool with that.
Now there was another article she wrote too, and this was before. She wrote this about John McCain. Please just fucking die already. Okay. And in that article, she explained that she was not being rhetorical. It was not hyperbolic. She was being serious. She wished that he would die, like his heart would stop. Seems like she was very serious, right? So why I got a problem with all this? Like you said, you ain't got a problem with it on the surface. Why I got a problem with it is because she called what Anoa did violent.
No. Pure with a P.
Pure violence.
Pure violence. Like I'm stabbing you. That's pure.
Right. But the way she talked a little bit, how could you?
See, again, that's how you know she was trying to retreat. That's how you know she was just trying to blow the floor up, or after she was given the floor to explain, she just was like, blow the floor up and leave. That's how you know it was, because it doesn't make sense based on her own profile and how, I guess, she delivers, her opinion and how she constructs her expositions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I mean, that's about all I can say on this subject. I don't even want to talk about Cernovich that much, because I don't care about Cernovich, right? Like I said, the only problem I had was the response to Anoa, really, and how it just escalated into what it shouldn't have been. But what's interesting is that this led to something else, because like you saw on the article, she said that no, she didn't call for an alliance with the alt-right or white nationalists or anything like that. And like I said, I saw the video that she did too, and she was going into all the people that were hating on her and stuff like that, viciously, kind of viciously. Again, saying that no, she didn't say that she was partnering with the alt-right. Okay, so I don't know if everybody has heard about this particular campaign. It's called #Unrig. Okay, #Unrig is co-founded by it's two people. One is Cynthia McKinney. Now, Cynthia McKinney, most people know who she is. She's a 6-time U.S. Congresswoman from Georgia. She ran for president in 2008. She attained the Green Party presidential nomination. And throughout the course of her career, she has garnered a lot of support, a lot of respect. So that's Cynthia McKinney. Okay? Now, the other side of this partnership, this Unrig thing, is a guy named Robert David Steele. Robert David Steele. And, you know, before I go into who this guy is, let's just play the video, because how this connects to Caitlin Johnstone is because all three of them, Caitlin Johnstone, Cynthia McKinney, and Robert David Steele, all of them together, they were all three on a video talking to each other about Unrig. So we're gonna play you some clips from that video.
I think what you guys are doing is very difficult but important work, and that's trying to come together on actual political issues and convergence.
I believe that you have just seen the alt-right and the alt-left working together. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. No, this is great. This is fantastic. And I think, that's just a common sense, pragmatic way of going about what needs to be done. This is really exciting to me, and I don't really understand why it's controversial. Like, I think this is like we need to start talking to each other like we're real humans, and that we have more in common than we don't.
So apparently nobody can hear that. Apparently
I'm telling you, man, this thing is schizophrenic.
Yeah, this is. You know, we're gonna try this one more time.
Yeah.
We're gonna try this one more time because it's important that everybody.
Yeah, because there's much needed context.
Yeah. All right. Let's play this. All right.
I think what you guys are doing is very difficult but important.
No, I didn't do it again. Look, this is. I don't know. So I don't know why it's busting up. I have no idea why it's busting up. We're gonna leave the mics on. Yeah, we're gonna leave the mics on so that you can hear it through the mic. Let's try this a fourth time because we have to play this.
Yeah, if we don't play this to us.
Yeah, then. Alright, let's try this.
We're gonna leave the mics on.
and that's trying to come together on actual political issues of convergence.
I believe that the alt-right and the whites cannot win without the blacks and the alt-left.
Yes.
You have just seen the alt-right and the alt-left working together. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. No, this is great. This is fantastic. And I think, that's just a common sense, pragmatic way of going about what needs to be done. This is really exciting to me. And I don't really understand why it's controversial. Like, I think this is like, we need to start talking to each other like we're real humans, and that we have more in common than we don't.
See?
So
All right.
our mics caught it.
All right. So that was Caitlin Johnstone. I don't know if anybody can hear it. I think you could. I think you could this time. But that was Caitlin Johnstone saying that she was.
It was great. It was fantastic.
Said,
it was exciting.
Great, fantastic.
That was after Robert David Steele mentioned this alliance with the alt-right and the alt-left. I don't know who the alt-left is. They just made that shit up.
That's one thing that I'm kind of questioning. Like, why didn't anybody was like alt-left? What the hell is that?
Yeah,
what is that?
Not only did what is that? Like, if there was no request to I guess link up with the alt-right, I think that was her time to clarify.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the introduction of this little get together, this little virtual gathering centered around the alliance between this alt left, whatever that is.
But see, it was very clear what was going on there, right? That was Robert David Steele talking about, I'm an alt right guy.
I'm an alt right guy, and
obviously Cynthia is an alt left person. Right, and we're coming together, and Caitlin Johnstone said,
number one,
fantastic.
And second,
this is exactly what we should be doing.
Where has Cynthia McKinney been? I know she's in Bangladesh. Yeah. She teaches in Bangladesh. That's where she's been. Yeah. Has she any affiliation with the Green Party or any?
I don't think
directly.
So, not
nope.
Not anymore.
Nope. So why is she? Why all of a sudden should we trust? David or Robert David Steele? Because he brought Cynthia McKinney in.
Because I told you, throughout the course of her career, she has garnered a lot of respect.
And you know what's so funny? And
people are going to use that.
But
say, hey, I can trust this woman.
And you know what? And a lot of people outside, not necessarily outside of the movement, but outside of like the organizing and direct involvement with the movement, who support it, are always using Cynthia McKinney as a cover for Steele. Like, oh, I trust McKinney. Oh, I trust McKinney. The conversation always goes to McKinney. Why is that? Like, they said, well, I don't know about him, but I trust her. I'm like, that's
you're
not
going too far into Unrig. That we haven't explained that yet. So look. So we got to get into who this guy is. We got to get into who Robert David Steele is, because like I think we're assuming that everybody knows.
Everybody knows. Okay.
Everybody doesn't know who Robert David Steele is. So this guy claims that he was a CIA officer, clandestine
case officer.
Yeah, case officer. He, as you saw, he's a self-described alt-right. And the whole reason we showed you that video is because Caitlin Johnstone said that, no, I didn't say I want a partnership with the alt-right.
I said
fucking idiots.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we said, because that narrative falls flat on his face. You saw exactly right there that she did. But that's where we leave it. Now we got to get into Robert David Steele. Like I said, self-described alt-right. Now, I'm going to play you a video. Now, this video, he was doing an interview with Jeff Rentz. And Jeff Rentz has a radio show, and you can see his videos on YouTube, too. He's, I guess, like an Alex Jones type. He deals a lot with conspiracy theories. He might be part of alt-right, too. I'm not even sure. I haven't heard that much of his commentary. But this is an interview that he was doing on that show.
This is a woman who can deliver 50% of the black voters to Donald Trump if he will simply give them policy outcomes. All right, instead of giving Israel $30,000 for every man, woman, and child in Israel, which they used to genocide the Palestinians, we should be giving all of that money to the inner cities and the blacks, as well as the poor whites across Texas and elsewhere.
It seemed like I've heard that somewhere before.
Yeah.
That kind of like trying to appeal to black people in that way. You know what I'm saying? And using McKinney as this proxy to get to black people.
He just said that Cynthia McKinney can deliver 50% of the black vote to Donald Trump.
That is
in 2020.
Well, that tells you what Cynthia McKinney is being used for.
Yeah.
Right there.
She's a mascot.
She's
a tool.
She's supposed to act as a vacuum.
Yeah.
She's a Hoover.
Now why are they doing? Now why is this his plot?
No. I think well, first, do you notice the first thing he wanted to take money from was what? Israel.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, in that clip, yeah, you did hear that. Yeah.
I'm like,
and
yes.
That's the way to. Okay, so instead of giving money to Israel, we're going to give it to all you poor black people, and you can vote for Donald Trump. It's pandering.
He is
in its greatest form.
I mean, because that's essentially what Unrig is. It's supposed to be what, a gift.
Well, he explains it later, and we're going to play that clip later. Now, this is a clip later on in this interview too, where he talks about David Duke.
Cynthia McKinney to appear on his channel.
All right, let's play that again.
Let me say thank you for getting me connected with David Duke. We had a wonderful interview, and I'm arranging for Cynthia McKinney to appear on his channel.
All right. So, he threw out the name David Duke. He said he wants Cynthia McKinney to appear on David Duke's show. Now, I don't know if everybody knows who David Duke is, but David Duke is a white nationalist.
He was a former Grand Wizard,
an Imperial Wizard,
Imperial Galactic Wizard,
for the KKK.
For the KKK.
Yeah,
and he basically hasn't. Now he's changed a little bit of his language, but he's still on the same stuff.
Yes, he's a Holocaust denier.
Yes, and that's where. That's the binding element between him and Steele, because in another video we watched, he kind of slipped it in there. He's it's within the clips that you pulled, but he says something about Holocaust myths.
We're gonna show.
Okay, I know you had that one.
Yeah, we're gonna show.
Okay, well,
that's when he explains what Unrig is, but David Duke. Do you remember last year when David Duke had endorsed Donald Trump and all the hubbub that was made about that, and when Donald Trump was approached about it, he was like, "Huh? What happened? Huh? I don't even know who he is, man."
I would deny
David
it too,
Duke?
because wasn't his grandfather? Wasn't Trump's grandfather KKK? So it makes sense.
But then later on, he was like, "Oh no, I don't want David Duke's endorsement. Oh no, I'd more readily vote for a Democrat." That's what he said. But David Duke is why you want Cynthia McKinney to go on the David Duke show? If she actually agreed to this,
exactly. Now you're connecting this Unrig thing to David Duke. Now you can go on. I think it was the Daily Stormer, and there's he's front and center. Robert David Steele is front and center on Daily Stormer. You know what I'm saying?
These are bad guys, man. No, these are bad guys.
And my thing is, here's the thing. Okay, now once you link a white supremacist to this, why should I trust the aftermath of Unrig?
You shouldn't. You obviously shouldn't.
Because obviously, all I'm saying is, listening to this kind of Unrig rhetoric and how Mr. Steele wants to go about it, it sounds very one-sided. It sounds like he and his side is taking the lead in all this, and we should just trust him. Once we reach the promised land of having fair elections, we promise you that we'll treat you fairly too, even though David Duke is on our side. Even though David Duke has a very, how can I say, he has a very enriched attitude about black people and Jews.
Enriched. Enriched. All right. Now, in an interview, there's this YouTube channel called Victorious Libertas VL. Victorious Libertas VL. Now, it's a YouTube channel, and Robert David Steele was on that channel talking about this Unrig thing too. This is what he had to say.
Hashtag Unrig has always been a gift to Donald Trump, seeking for him to lead and broaden his base and survive the certain implosion of the Republican Party.
All right. So started out as a gift to Donald Trump. He wanted to hand it to Donald Trump.
Wasn't a gift to liberty, American people?
No. It was a gift to Donald Trump because this is a Trump flunky right here. He wants Donald Trump to succeed as president. And see, look, we gotta unmask. We gotta take all the tape off this box.
But I just want to rip it off.
Yeah, no, we gotta tape all this off. Okay, so the way he's talking, look, Donald Trump right now is losing support. Already, he's losing support. Poor white Americans, ratings are down.
Like 32% the last time I checked.
Ratings are down. His approval ratings just going steadily down, right? Okay, so what he's scared of is by the time 2020 comes and they're still mad because the jobs aren't going to be here. He's not done anything so far. The jobs aren't going to be here. They're going to be mad, okay? He's going to lose all that support that he had because Americans were mad, right? This was the year of the outsider. Well, 2016 was the year of the outsider, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want establishment politics, even though Donald Trump is establishment politics.
He's a different kind of establishment.
Yeah, but that's neither here or there. Okay, so he's scared that 2020 he's going to lose all that support. So where's he going to make it up at?
Black people.
Black people. And who's he going to get that? Who's he going to get to ride that wave? Who's he going to get? Cynthia McKinney. She's going to drive home that 50% blacks to support Donald Trump for president because we're going to take money from Israel and give it to
as if somehow no on the real, we don't like money going to Israel in support of apartheid. No, but let's not act like somehow that's the biggest drop in the bucket, and that serves as the linchpin.
Yeah, no. There's many things that we can talk about, and you know what? Let's play this because this is where. Okay, so recently he did an interview with Claudia Stauber. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people know who Claudia Stauber is.
Oh, man, I didn't want to go.
Look, he did an interview. She invited him onto her channel to do an interview with her. And it lasted for a little bit over an hour. Very extensive. There was, oh my gosh, a treasure trove of. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yo,
it took it took me hours to watch it. Hours.
We tried to watch it together at the same time, and it took us all day.
Yeah, I wasn't finished till the next morning. All right, but anyway, let's play this is an important clip because this is where he explains the Unrig plan. This is all its nuts and bolts right here.
Jewish, student with debt, elderly with. All we require is 12 activists in each of 435 congressional districts. That's all it takes. 12 activists, alt-right, alt-left, black, Latino, Jewish, student with debt, elderly with medical debt. 12 people representing a cross-section of a single congressional district. They need to do two things. They need to deliver the Integrity Act to their congressman and demand that the congressman sign them. And at the same time, and this Integrity Act is a pledge to co-sponsor and pass the Election Reform Act in September when Congress returns from the summer recess. The second thing they need to do is demand that the congressman renounce the pledge to put Israel first that most, but not all congressmen have signed. That's the so-called AIPAC pledge. And we did a post today at 58iota.net with the exact wording of the AIPAC pledge in the United Kingdom. The AIPAC pledge in the United States is top secret. You're not allowed to see it. And so I think this is a really big deal. And finally, those congressmen that refuse to sign the Integrity Pledge and refuse to renounce the AIPAC pledge, they should be the beneficiaries of a $3,000 billboard that is paid for by local activists, not by us. We're just an educational program showing them how to do it. But a billboard with the congressman's picture, state and district, and then America First, sign the Integrity Pledge or refuse to sign the Integrity Pledge, and Israel First, sign the AIPAC Pledge or refuse to sign the AIPAC Pledge, and then green check marks or red crosses as it is. We essentially want individual voters across this country to call every single member of Congress out. Are they putting Israel first, or are they going to put America first?
All right, so let's begin with what he said. Okay, so first of all, this whole Unrig thing is, he said the first thing about it is about election integrity. So what he wants is people, he said 12 people in every congressional district.
Activists.
12 activists in every congressional district to approach the Congress person and get them to sign the Integrity Pledge. Now, what is the Integrity Pledge? So we looked it over, and what it says pretty much in a nutshell is that said Congress person will they will co-sponsor and vote for the Election Reform Act when Congress gets back. Okay, so I looked over the Election Reform Act as well. Looked over it. On its surface, I mean, like, actually looking at the document, there's nothing really wrong about it. I mean, there's talking about they talked about gerrymandering in there, a number of things that are supposed to get us to a point where we can trust our elections. I don't really think it does the job, but there's nothing just nefarious in the document. So the document's okay. But then, second thing, what did he couple it with? Again, we hear about Israel. We hear about AIPAC. He said, our American Congress have signed a pledge that puts Israel first. Meaning that they do, Israel's interest comes before America's interest. Now, is that a thing? It
very well could be, but
I've never heard of it.
Well, I will say, he said he was going to provide Claudia with a couple of links to put under that cabin talk video. But they weren't there. There's a lot of stuff that he said that wasn't there.
Yeah, there's
he said he's nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. And he wasn't. So he's a liar. He's a liar. Robert David Steele, you're a fucking liar.
But I just, upon hearing all of this, I'm thinking to myself, okay, why is this mug continuously talking about Israel? Like, okay, because what does Israel have to do with, what does AIPAC have to do with election integrity?
I guess that's to him, that's the linchpin in election integrity. If you get Israel off the map, everything will be fine. But see, America will come first then.
But see, what's logical is, okay, if we're talking about elections, right, and we're talking about money, right, what impacts elections and stuff like that, I would go, campaign finance. All this money that is getting stuck into the pockets of these politicians, and they're doing for the corporations and the billionaires instead of the people they're supposed to be governing.
Will the energy companies all of a sudden go away? Will the military bases go away? Will the corporations go away? Exactly.
Yeah. What about if we're going to
dog. That's going to be paid for with the money we take from Israel. All of it.
If we're gonna go after something, why not tax loopholes and tax havens and money laundering and, like we said, the private insurers?
Because Trump is doing that. That will be affecting like his bid to keep Trump there, because that's Trump. Trump does all that. Trump is the one whose 2/3 of his companies are in other countries. 20 of them. He has 20 businesses in other countries. So that would actually affect Trump. That's why he's not talking about that stuff.
But see, to include Israel in this, to even bring up something like these congressmen, they're bought by Israel, and they hold Israel's interests above American interests. You have to have some kind of perception of Israel.
It's not about. It's not about. No. See, he's slick. He's slick. See, he's one of those. See, what he does is he tries to like say, well, I'm just anti-Zionist. I'm not, anti-Jew. I'm like, no, you're anti-Jew, because in one instance he said something about we have 9 million loyal American Jews on our side. Yeah. He said that. And there ain't 9 million. It ain't even 9 million Jews up in here, though.
Look, let's get to the next video, because this is where he talks about why AIPAC is a target, why AIPAC had to be included in this election reform act and stuff like that.
And I think we can clarify, it's not like we enjoy the money that's sent, but we don't think like Israel represents like the symbol for why our elections are, you know what I'm saying?
No, see, it shouldn't be. Israel is not a topic that should be broached when I'm talking about election reform. No, we can talk about many other areas,
Wall Street,
instead of Israel. But it seems like they only want to talk about Israel. David Duke talks about Israel. Robert David Steele talks about Israel. And Cynthia McKinney talks about Israel too. I'm saying you got to have a certain type of mentality about Jews. You got to have some type of mentality. You're talking about wouldn't it? Okay, let's just hear him say why AIPAC is a target.
It is not possible to pretend to ask for integrity while allowing AIPAC and Zionist Israel to continue to own the U.S. government.
Right.
So we have to do both.
So there you see it. See. So the connection is drawn. Connection is drawn. He's saying that our government is bought. Jews are running our country.
No. See. Again, that is essentially what that's the binding agent between him and what's his KKK face?
Yeah,
David Duke.
Yeah, and McKinney.
But no. Well, I mean, now I don't know this about McKinney. But
you would have to assume that she knows exactly.
Well, no. I'm talking about a particular narrative that white supremacists kind of put out there, and that's like the Jews run everything.
Right.
I'm
they
like,
do put that out.
we don't run nothing. It's everything that's happening on this planet that's destructive is because of the Jews. That's kind of like David Duke's kind of like main course. Other than black people, that's his main course. That's a white supremacist main course. It's not us. It's the Jews. And so that's how Steele connects to him. That's one of the main points that they connect on. And personally, I think what is going on is he's trying to take a lot of the disagreement that people do have about Israel and that apartheid state, which is actually legitimate concerns, and he's trying to co-opt that in order to push this whole like Jews are the evil group. Because if you go on Amazon and look up Robert David Steele. You don't have to do it right now, but you might want to, and go look at all the books he's written and published. And if you look at the kind of the graphics and the illustrations and the iconography he uses, you will see where he's going with this, because he's not just like this political voice. It has some like almost spiritual and kind of, I wouldn't call it voodoo, but it's like it's a spiritual like religious thing to it, because there's like I guess the illustrations on one of the books, he has like devil horns and he has like all these symbols, like the star symbol. I'm like, oh, I see where this is going.
You gotta have a
these Jews, no, you know what it leads to.
Yeah.
It's like it leads to Jewish people are like the synagogue of Satan. See, that's where it leads to. So people need to separate like the whole criticism of Israel as an apartheid state with what he's trying to push. Yeah, he's trying to like co-opt that. He's trying to use that as a way to justify.
Yeah, see, talking about Israel and the conflict with Palestinians, that's a topic. Yeah, I mean, that's real. That conflict has been going on for ages. We can talk about that, what's going on over there. But that doesn't really have anything to do with election reform. And it definitely doesn't, I mean,
I wouldn't say it doesn't have to do with it.
Election reform?
I mean, but if you look at it from the way he's thinking, if you look at it from the way
he's looking at it from an anti-Semitic point of view, though.
But that's the thing; he's trying to cover it up. And like, thing is,
he's just trying to appeal to black people, man. Because, like we said, he knows Donald Trump is going to lose a lot of the white vote. What you gonna do? You're gonna have to pick that up in some brown and black skin, right? That's what he's doing. Now, upon hearing all of this talk about Israel, Claudia asked them, okay, well, I gotta ask you, pretty much, because my viewer's gonna ask, about the Israel, why are you going after Israel? Is that anti-Semitic, this and that? So this was his response.
Only an ignorant person or a traitor confuses anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism. It's two completely different things. All right, there are 9 million loyal American Jews in the United States of America. They are not the problem. There is nothing about what Cynthia McKinney and I are doing that is anti-Semitic. However, that is the single biggest tool, along with Holocaust myths, that the Zionist forces use to blackmail, bribe, and manipulate entire publics as well as legislations and parliament.
So, upon seeing that particular part of this video, first thing that's going through my head is Claudia. This is your show now. You're interviewing RDS, Robert David Steele. You're interviewing him. My question is, how do you let him say something like Holocaust myths and not push back?
And not, well, you know what? I wouldn't say even push back. Just be like, hey, what do you mean? I need what the clarification. If you're going to allow him on your show,
well, that's pushback.
I wouldn't call that pushback.
His response is going to lead to some pushback.
Well, that's his fault. That's his fault. He defines it as pushback because he knows he's going to have to come clean and be more detailed. I don't call it pushback. That's just general inquiry.
Yeah, but you know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I know.
There's going to be some racist shit.
It is. And again, that's where we need to draw the distinction. He's trying to set it up so where he doesn't seem like he's anti-Semitic. And specifically anti-Semitic for a particular type of Jew.
Right.
And so because he knows who he is, but he can't reveal that. He has to continue this Unrig campaign without revealing to people how far his anti-Semitism goes. It's just, oh no, I'm just against our politicians always bowing down to Israel. But if you go actually look into him, you will see the source for his anti-Zionism, like he claims it is.
I'm still stuck on the AIPAC pledge, the mysterious USA version, which they can't get a hand on. Now they said that they put up the UK version, which I looked at it too. It's not a document. All it is words on their website. It's not verifiable. At least I didn't see anything that was verifiable. So to just come out your mouth, and like I said, that's a very anti-Semitic talking point. Our American congressmen are all working for Israel over America. Really? Now, if you're gonna spread a narrative like that, because I would surmise that it makes more sense that white people run the country, America. Wouldn't that make more sense? That would make more sense to me. But Jewish people, if you're pushing that narrative, you're saying that, it's a very coded language way of speaking. It's saying that we can't stand Jews. This is an all-out assault on them. We can, give you some spin like, oh no, the American Jews here, oh they're fine, we ain't got no problem.
Like I've heard of the, I've heard of it, and I've heard of it before of this kind of plague.
But from who?
I mean, I've heard it here and there, by some sort of loyalty agreement, but I haven't seen an official document.
I'm sure. Look, it would make sense that anybody that, like, corporations, companies, whatever like that, if they're connected to AIPAC, because AIPAC is a lobbying organization for Israel. We know that. Okay. There are a number of lobbying organizations. If a company is tied to AIPAC, then yeah, I wouldn't expect them to give their money to anyone that isn't, partial to Israel, right? Mm-hmm. That isn't going to do for Israel. That's the way it works with anybody. Like, are the Koch brothers going to give money to Bernie Sanders? No, that wouldn't make sense, right? So anybody that has money and they're interested in donating to a candidate, yeah, they're going to need to know that candidate is going to bend over backwards for them. When legislation comes about, they're gonna vote the right way. So this isn't news to anyone. But to go a step further and say that now that equates to Israel runs the country, Israel has bought off every single American politician, I guess as far as U.S. politicians. Mm-hmm. And I believe at one point he said Cynthia McKinney was the only congresswoman man to refuse to sign the AIPAC pledge. Really?
That's what I read.
That's a coincidence. That Cynthia McKinney. That's a coincidence. So there's another clip here where he talks about what else he would like to do. What else he would like to do to Congress members who do not sign the integrity pledge? Because you heard before that he was talking about if they don't sign it, we're going to get a $3,000 billboard. We're not going to pay for it. Activists is going to pay for it. And we're going to put up big letters, Israel first, and just try to shame him, right? So here comes some more shame.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, but this is the end of America. Had Hillary Clinton been elected, pedophilia would be legalized.
That's the wrong clip.
As well as bestiality.
No.
Loretta Lynch had a.
That's for later. That's for later. That's for later. Y'all got a taste of something real juicy.
Yeah, this is the clip.
Candlelight vigils outside their home every night, singing the Israeli national anthem.
Not a bad idea.
What a bad idea. What a bad idea. Come on.
No, that was whack.
Come on.
Not a bad idea.
Come on, Claudia, yo.
Not a bad idea.
I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go in on her like that, man. But damn.
No, I'm saying.
Like for real, come on. If you just look at it for what it is. I'm not saying she didn't believe it was a good idea and just said that. I really think she thought it was a good idea.
She looked like she thought it was a good idea. Like, can you imagine that? You want to take people,
hold people accountable.
Yeah,
by
congregating outside of
a congressman's home, singing hymns. Not hymn, but Israeli national anthem and burning candles. I mean. Yeah, like they're not even there most of the time anyway. But I'm just saying, like, that's going to get them to be. That's going to embarrass them. Oh, and the billboards too. The billboards will get them. The billboards
because you want to shame them because you want everybody to know these are the Congress members that put Israel first, not America first. They should be kicked out of Congress. They're treasonous.
And actually, you know what's so funny? A lot of these. A lot of these congressmen they're trying to shame for putting Israel first. A lot of their constituents are very fond of Israel. So what are you going to do about the constituents that vote for them? You see what I'm saying? What are you going to do about the constituents? Because that's who's voting for them. there's a lot of these constituents are not going to care about those billboards because they have this fondness for Israel. Now, I think it's for some sinister reasons that I don't really want to get into now, but you know.
Well, again, what kind of support is he looking for?
Black support.
He's looking for some black people, brown black people. That's what he's looking for, and he's using McKinney as the way to do that. So, and like, look, McKinney can. She can have the past that she has, whatever. You know, a lot. Like I said, a lot of people have respected her work, thought that she was a true leader, whatever. But you don't follow somebody off a cliff, and this is that cliff. This is joining forces with self-described alt